open Word, click on the Wizards tab, then onto the menu of Wizards, Authors, and find Nonfiction Manuscript. Now, we recommend that if you're starting from scratch, that you, instead of clicking on Nonfiction Wizard, you click on Bookmaster. That way, Bookmaster will set up your folders for you and then take you right into Nonfiction Wizard. Okay, we're going to use the grammar settings. Now, since we're running a nonfiction book and it's about whale hunting, we're going to use an author named of Captain Ahab. He was the one who hunted down Moby Dick, as you remember. Well, Captain Ahab is a next-door neighbor to Herman Melville on 26th Street. And so we've entered his information and his email address. Now, in this particular nonfiction manuscript, we have a choice to use either parts and chapters or chapters only. So you could have a part 1 with chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and a part 2 and chapters therein. But we're just going to do chapters. Here we're going to enter the first chapter. And we'll click Proceed. And we'll say yes to this for the time being. As you can see now, we have a table of contents here, a title sheet, and the beginning of our chapter. Let me point something out to you. Up at the top here, we have like a backwards P. This is a paragraph mark. If we click on this, it's going to show us the paragraph marks, spaces, and tabs. We shouldn't have any tabs, but as you can see here, the whale hunter's story, see the little dots in between? Those indicate spaces. And the backwards paragraph mark, P, is an indication of a paragraph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the Enter key and see where the cursor is. And now you can see there's a new paragraph. So what we have here is an empty paragraph. Now, if we don't want to look at these things, we can turn them off like that. Off and on. It's a toggle. All right. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick that's easy to use for entering Latin text. Now what I've typed is =, lorem, parentheses, 5, 3, close parentheses. Now this is typed at the beginning of a line, and when you hit the Enter key, it will create text for you, like so. Now, as you can see, it's all Latin gibberish. So you can see what's happened here if we've just filled in with a bunch of Latin gibberish here. Okay, now I've done this on purpose. Notice that we have an empty paragraph here. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I want to begin a new chapter. Let's say that's the end of chapter 1. I go up here to the New Chapter button and click it while my cursor is in an empty paragraph. Boom. There's my chapter 2. So, how to catch whales will be the title of my second chapter. I hit the Enter key, and again, rather than typing everything, I'm going to do the same trick we just did. And now I've got a bunch of text. Unfortunately, when you're writing a book, this would not be a very good idea to send this to the literary agent. They may get a good laugh, but they probably won't want to do business with you. All right, now let's show a few other things that you can do here. If you needed to get a new part, if you're going to begin a new part, we're just doing chapters, so it's immaterial, or a new part title, you would click one of these buttons. The new chapter I've just shown you. The chapter title, if we wanted to change something that was incorrectly formatted as, let's say, body text, you would click the chapter title. So now let's say that we wanted to, if we wanted to take a paragraph and make it a block quotation or an extract, we could do this. And change it back to body text if we want. If we wanted an indented block quotation, we could do that. Okay, now up at the top of our manuscript there's a thing called words. Let's click update word count. And you can see now our word count has been updated. Many times nonfiction manuscripts have their chapters broken down into various sections, and those sections have subheadings. Up here we have our headings group. If you click down, you'll see that there are 5 levels. These 5 levels are in accordance with the specifications given in the Chicago Manual of Style. You may not like them, but that's what the publishing world expects of you to use these heading styles. The first heading level would be A, and then if there were subheadings under A, you would use B, and then subheadings under B, you would use C. Alright, so let's give an example. We'll get down here into chapter 2, and let's put our cursor here and then hit the enter key. We now have an empty paragraph. This is our first heading, A. Okay, now we'll go up to the headings button, click that. Now you can see it's centered and it's kind of boldened up a little bit. That's your first type of heading. Okay, so we wrote some words in here. Now we're going to put in a new heading. This is our second heading, and we're going to make it a B. And we'll type some stuff in here. And now we're going to put in a new heading, and we're going to use A again. Okay, so now we've got the various headings in there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go up here and update our table of contents. Now notice that we've got the How to Catch Whales, it's a second chapter. We've got the first heading and we've got the third heading. Now what's happened here is that we don't have our heading B, because we've limited the headings to 3 levels. Okay, in this case we've gone to just 2 because we don't have any parts in here. So this will make it your table of contents easier to read. Okay. Now, if you get down to C and D levels, they won't show up in your table of contents, but they'll still be in your document. Now, if you go over here, you'll see a button for spacing. So let's click on that, and you can see there are 3 selections. Let's talk about the first selection, spacing between sentences. Some publishers want you to have a single space between the end of your sentence, between the punctuation, like the period, and the beginning of the next sentence. Some want you to have 2 spaces to make it easily readable. You can click on this and change from 1 space to 2 space, or from 2 space back to 1 space. It's fairly easy, just 1 click and it's done. Every sentence in your manuscript will be changed. Spaces after paragraphs. Well, this is just a cleanup of a bad habit that a lot of people have, is they will put a space and then hit the carriage return or hit the return key. So this causes some problems in when you get near a page boundary. Delete blank lines is for deleting some lines that you may have put in there unintentionally. Sometimes people have a tendency to hit the enter key multiple times to move down on the page. Well, what this is doing is entering blank lines in there. It's not just moving you down, it's entering blank lines. And so that can cause you difficulty later when you start doing editing. So it's best to get those cleaned out of there and just delete those blank lines. All right, this ends the nonfiction manuscript tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you.